I was a broadcaster. In college, I broadcasted my first football game as a color analyst. All right, so I'm fully in college, and yet I'm working with the local station down there in San Diego. And now that I realize it as I'm older, I was some free labor for them, right? Because they couldn't pay me, right? So it was like I was interning. I'm doing all this free labor.
I mean, that's a whole other Twitter discussion if we want to get
right
for another day.
Oh boy,
for another day.
It did give me a taste of broadcasting, a taste of television and radio, and I said, you know what? This is what I want to do. I love playing football, and that's always going to be my passion. I'm going to be involved with football some kind of way, but I always wanted to be a broadcaster as well. And so when I finally retired, or not finally retired, when I just said, you know what, I'm going to go into broadcasting. This is when I met Mike Del Tufo and the guys. I started over at Fox when they launched the FS1, the first Fox Sports 1 network. And I was in LA. I lived in LA, so I lived not too far from the studio, and I was able to get my get my bearings and learn more and more about broadcasting. Even though I had already was doing it, I was hosting a show with Rob Dibble, right?
Rob Dibble.
A radio show as an active player. So I was active in the NFL, my last 3 seasons in the NFL, and I'm hosting a national syndicated radio show on the weekends, right? So it was fun. We were in some good markets, and I'm getting my chops together. And then finally, I went all in. Like I said, I joined, FS1, and after 1 year, they said, "Would you like to call an NFL game?" I'm just like, you darn right I do. And I was the color analyst for my college at San Diego State. I did that with the great Ted Leitner, who's also the Padres play-by-play, formerly used to be. Now he's taken another position within the organization. But when I called my first NFL game, I was kind of starstruck a little bit because they teamed me up with a guy by the name of Dick Stockton.
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
And Dick Stockton is a guy who I listened to. I wouldn't say I listened to. And today it was announced that Dick Stockton is retiring from broadcasting in 65 years of broadcasting. And my first opportunity to call NFL games, he was my play-by-play partner. And so I just wanted to tell him congratulations on, I guess, a career of some of the biggest moments in sports. Like, he was the voice of the NBA.
Oh, yeah.
A lot, and this was the
in
NBA
the 80s,
was on
man.
in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like, it was Dick Stockton and Marv Albert. It was those voices. And then he had the NFL. And so, I remember just sitting down with him at dinner and just thinking, like, you've covered some of the biggest events in sports. Like, I can't even imagine what it was like, in the old garden, right, with Lakers and Celtics, or Dr. J and those matchups with the 76ers. And I just think about just all that knowledge. And that's why, if you sit down with a play-by-play guy, they've got everything for you.
Oh,
because they've been to the venues. They know, they know the city. They can tell you anywhere to go eat at, by the way.
right.
But they have their routine.
Any hotel bar, anything.
Important stuff.
Yeah. So
this place has the good stuff.
it was funny because here I am. I am so nervous. My first game, I'm broadcasting.
Who was it? You remember?
Yeah, it was Vikings at Rams.
Okay.
Vikings at Rams. North Turner was the offensive coordinator, I think, with the Vikings at the time. This was the Rams who were in St. Louis.
St. Louis, I was just going to say, it's right before they moved.
St. Louis, yeah. And I want to say that my our sideline reporter was Christina Pink.
Hey,
yes. Obviously, she's moved on to bigger and better, by the way.
She's left everybody in her desk.
I didn't follow in her rise, but, obviously, but it was fun to just get started with a legend like, Dick Stockton. So I wanted to give him a shout out to and say, man, congratulations on an outstanding broadcasting career, calling some of the greatest moments in sports. I think he did a little bit of everything. I want to say he did a little bit of hockey. He's done golf, I believe. He's done, because I always ask, is there a sport that you haven't done? And they were like, no, I've pretty much done it all, So I wanted to thank him for giving me that opportunity to start with him. And I remember we're doing the open. So before the broadcast even starts, there's always the open. For me, that is the worst part of the actual broadcast. I am scared to death to do an open because you're on camera and it's live. And I'm like, I can sit here and do a radio show with you guys and live. But I don't see the cameras. Like the cameras are on you, but you don't see them. So I'm looking around. TJ's here. Del Tufo's here. Yep. I got Brock, and I'm talking. There's a camera that's on me, but I'm not speaking directly to the camera.
And it's hard to get used to that.
It's hard to get used. And then all of a sudden,
also the booth, right? Isn't the camera like right?
Oh, the camera's right there,
right in your face.
And so here we are, boom, first game, and I'm nervous, and I got these little cards up, and I'm asking, hey, Dick, what are you gonna ask me? What is it? Is it Sam Bradford and how the Rams are going to be missing him, and I think the quarterback was I forget who the quarterback was,
like Sean Mannion or something weird.
It may
like
have been
that.
one of those. And so, here I am. I'm jotting all these notes, and I'm getting ready, and he literally grabs my card and throws it.
It's fantastic.
I'm like, "What you doing?" He was like, "No, we're not," because we were doing a rehearsal first. And he says, "No, I want your true, raw, live thoughts on this team, because that's what the people want. Don't go there rehearsing it." I'm like, "But I need the rehearsal. I want to make sure." And then boom, right, we did a little rehearsal, and right when I'm about to talk, he literally just kind of cuts me off, just so I couldn't hear it. And then we go on live and say, "Here we go, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, I'm Dick Stockton here at the Edward Jones Dome in St. Louis. It's the Vikings versus the Rams. I'm here with Kirk Morrison and here I am, and then boom, you're on camera, and it's just how you feel about the matchup. Hey, here's a team that, obviously going into the season, they had Sam Bradford, obviously injury in the offseason, during training camp, and all of a sudden they're scrambling a little bit. We'll see what this offense looks like. On the other side is the Vikings and Adrian Peterson. There's not much you have to think about that. You hand the ball off to Adrian Peterson, and you hope that he can take you to victory. And that was it. And it just kind of flows, but man, I was so nervous, but yeah, that's how a guy like Stockton would do the young rookie. You know what I mean? Still getting hazed.
Now look at you.
Yeah, look at you. Exactly.
Hey, you're everywhere.
I appreciate it, man.
Can't hold you down
doing
now.
your thing.
Well, I got the FCS playoffs coming up, and a Vanderbilt spring game. I'm kind of excited about that. Yeah.
And Brockman Stockton, another Syracuse guy.
Stockton is another Syracuse guy.
Oh my God!
Man.
Here we go.
Absolute legend in the biz, Dick Stockton.
Yeah, we got to hear about all the Syracuse guys. Trust me, I hear it enough. One of my old play-by-play guys, Mike Cousins, is a Syracuse guy. They'll tell you they're Syracuse. I didn't ask you that, but they'll tell you.
I didn't bring it up. TJ brought it up. Also,
I figured he would. So
we're going to the Elite Eight this weekend. We're going to take down Houston. Book it.
Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.